Yeah, buddy. Hope you're doing alright, man. So, a couple things I want to update with. I want to get back to making more videos like this. I actually want to start streaming soon. Anywho, just real quick. So, there's an update with the whole situation that went down with me and working and shit. Apparently, my mom, I think her anger was so powerful. Like, she was so overwhelmed in a number of ways and also just angry and taking it out on me. But I think a lot of that has to do with my dad passing, and she was with her work. She had to do like these crazy presentations, and she had to redo shit. So it left her very overwhelmed and angry. And then she just assumed, she made the assumption that when she came down on Monday to ask me if I was going to work, and I told her no, and she asked me why, and I said because Little Bear's not okay. She freaked out as soon as I told her that, even though it's the absolute truth. And so she freaked out. What proceeded later on, I told her. I remember specifically telling her. I mean, it's kind of, it's not a, I wouldn't say hazy, but I can't remember the moment vividly, but I feel like I know. I know I told her. Like I can't remember myself actually doing it, but I remember sharing the following information that my employer was okay with me taking as long as I needed to get a little bit okay. Because that was a huge fucking point that I wanted to tell her. And I was like, okay, even my employer is backing me in the move that I'm making. And so it's like, and that's something I wanted my mom to know. So um, I find it hard to believe that I didn't tell her that. But she's telling me that she apparently didn't know that. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck, mom. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, I can't, I'm not going to lie and say I vividly remember saying it when I don't, because I don't. But I feel like I would have said it. If I didn't, that's obviously my bad. Um, but anywho, even if that isn't the case, what I eventually came to the conclusion with is that what I'm going to ask for is in a couple days, I'm going to ask. So it's just my mom and my brother, and then we have two dogs. That's all that's in this household. My dad just passed about 3 months ago. um, so good reasoning. That's what I'm going to ask is going to be the governing guideline of this house is good reasoning. Literally typing in those two words, the definition of those words, using those two words, the definition that comes from those two words as the guidelines for how we make decisions in this house. That's what I want. That's what I feel is good in my heart. That's where I want to live and the people I want to live with. That's what I want to agree upon. That's what I feel is good. Um, and if we'd had something like that, like a way of looking at things like that, like when shit happens, okay, instead of freaking out and doing all these things, let's use good reasoning to come up with a solution or a course of action. If that would have been the case in that instance with what happened to Little Bear, we would have sat down and with good reasoning as our guideline, figure out a way to react to this situation with good reasoning being our guide. So, like, when I came up with the idea, like, based on the information I knew about my employer, what we could have done is came up with, like, a little game plan to try to get Little Bear onto a routine to rehabilitate him, see how that goes. As long as there's no incidents, after maybe a week or so, I could have gone back to work. Like, we could have came up with something easy like that we all can agree upon. I could have told that to my employer and followed through with it, and boom, by, Monday, fucking tomorrow, I could be going back to work, and we'd all been on the fucking good, back on the good page, and everything hunky-dory without any of this crazy fucking drama. Um, but because we didn't have anything or good reasoning governing our actions, this drama happened. And because we're living in a time and place when evil has got so much power, because humanity is, in this spot particularly, it's all about the spot and the arrangements of the elements in this spot. And the way this earth is situated in America, in Portland, in these big cities, and this house in particular, allows for a lot of evil. And that has to do a lot with how we react to things. Reaction is everything, really, when you think about it, because like once that first action took place to start everything that follows that first action is a reaction. So, if people don't know how to react to things in a healthy manner, they're going to have a hard time living a healthy life. And that's something I'd like to teach here in America to the youth and even to the elders and everybody, is how to react to things in a healthy way. If that were taught and perpetuated with a lot of force, I mean, just with whatever amount of force it's being met with, that's going to allow or not allow that much evil. So what I'm saying is, the more power one puts into allowing good reasoning to govern their lives, with the more evil is not going to be allowed to manifest in their life, at least in the way to where they're propagating it. Now, we're always going to have to deal with the resistance that comes from good growth, but that's different than dealing with like an evil curse that's a part of you that you have to literally learn from. Like that's actually how you know if it's karma or not, is if it's a lesson. I should have came up with this sooner, but yeah, that makes sense when you think about it. Like, if there's a lesson in your life, like let's say that you have you're an alcoholic, or you're I'll just use that because that's been the biggest thing in my life, has been drug addiction. To continue to consume like that, to me, is a lower level